Mark came out and he was like, we'll take it when we get it. It doesn't even matter at this point. And yes, there's something to be said, but there's also a bit of confusion that leads to frustration, right? I mean, like you just said, where has this been all season? From the defensive side of the ball to the hustle to the 3-point shooting that decided to show up last night. I mean, I can't say that I'm frustrated because a win's a win. It's a top 25 win on the road of all things. But it just makes you think, did it take Trev Alberts stepping in, saying Fred Hoiberg is our guy, we're moving with him moving forward? Did it take that for this team to wake up a little bit? Because since then, they're 2-1 with a road win against the top 25 team in the country. So I don't think it's just a coincidence that Trev Alberts restructures the contract, puts his full faith in Fred Hoiberg, and they magically start playing better. I don't think it's a coincidence. I don't think it's the only reason they're playing better. I think pride goes into that a little bit. I think the fact that this is a good team that had some bad breaks earlier on in the season has something to do with it. But I don't think it's a complete and total coincidence that, we decide to keep this guy, the team starts playing better. And it is frustrating. And I'm going to enjoy the win. I'm going to say I told you so, even though I didn't say I told you so. But,
and to be fair, Frost was 0-2 after the Trev Alberts vote of confidence.
That is true.
And if that happened in both sports, then maybe.
And then it'd be like, okay, what is going on here? But it is a little bit frustrating. I mean, McGowan's, unfortunately, it looks like after last night, probably going to head for the NBA draft. I mean, he was lights out. He was unreal. He was even hitting the three-pointer a little bit, which we haven't seen in the past. So I think, unfortunately, that might be it for McGowan's. That was kind of the game he had to show up, and he did. But they proved last night, and I know we talked about it off air, they're not a fluke. That wasn't a fluke that they beat Minnesota. It wasn't a fluke that they have won 2 in a row now. I don't think it was. I think this is a good team that underperformed all season. And they've hustled. They've played defense. They shot the three-pointer. Everything came together. And now I'm looking towards this Wisconsin game. Am I going to take them to win? No. I have no reason to believe they won't be competitive. And it's crazy how quickly that can turn, because we were sitting here probably 2 weeks ago saying, dear Lord, just get through the season. Hope you don't lose to Wisconsin by 25, 30 points. Now it's, let's play spoiler. They've already locked in a share of the Big Ten outright champions. Let's make them work for it. And I'm interested to see what you have to say, because I know I'm obviously always going to take the optimistic side of things, and I'm going to say glass half full. You're right in the middle, so I bet you'll probably take a right in the middle stance. But are you at least a little bit excited? I mean, it was exciting.
Yeah, I mean, like Mark was saying, take what you can get. You don't have these top 25 victories come along. It's literally, if you're talking Husker football and basketball, it's been years. So I mean, when you get it, you have to take it. It's sad, but even still, you take it when you get it. And you get excited about it. You do wonder, like, this game was rescheduled from kind of Nebraska going through the COVID thing earlier in the year. At that time, it's hard to say, because they did play Ohio State to overtime in Lincoln, at a certain time in the year. And then, before their game was postponed, their game was supposed to be postponed a little bit after that. So it's, you already knew that they could play with them. So maybe they could have got the win at that time, but it just kind of feels like they're really kind of settling in and working out the kinks. They got an 8-man rotation. Everybody kind of knows their role. This is where you want to see a team kind of rolling this time of the year. It just, they didn't work it out early enough. But in any case, let's go to Chris on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Chris, what are you thinking today?
Hey guys, great show. Well, our biggest hope for Bryce is that he's just a completely one-dimensional player. As great an athlete as he is, as the greatest scorer, this stat line, 0, 0, 0 across the board after the points. No assist, no steals, no block, and that's fairly normal for Bryce. And he's not a terribly good rebounder. So, I mean, hopefully they can use that. I think he's gone. But if we have any sliver of a chance, it's that, come on, man, you can up your game. You don't really contribute other than on the points. And for a team that doesn't have a strong rebounder or anything, he could be a guy averaging 7, 8 rebounds. He doesn't really pass the ball real great. And, I'm shocked at how few steals he ever gets. So that's a way they could maybe induce him to come back. But yeah, it's good to see him win some games, and it's lipstick on a pig, but we'll take it.
Yeah, we definitely will. Thanks
Yeah.
for the call, Chris. I mean, I think that there's some credibility to what he's saying too there.
Right.
I mean, Bryce has developed as that scorer. I believe he's the leading scorer as far as freshmen across the nation. Probably won the Big Ten Freshman of the Year award
after last night.
Because Malachi Branham kind of had his number their first matchup and had been playing very well, but it looks like Bryce is probably taken that. That is something that is probably to be considered. I don't know if it should be a foregone conclusion that Bryce is gone. I think especially now that they're starting to put something together, I think this whole year has just not gone the way they wanted it to. Right? He came to college to play with his brother, and he got a big chunk of that taken out. So it just hasn't been the way that they wanted it to go, and I'm sure they have to wonder what it would look like a full season of them with another year, some of these other pieces coming in, if they can get it rolling, because finally they needed this though. I thought that he was probably going to be gone if they didn't win a few games down the stretch, because they need at least a sign that they're
glimmer
actually
of hope.
Yeah, that there is anything to this team that is put together. If they can convince a lot of those guys to come back, and then I do agree though with Chris. I mean, that he is pretty one-dimensional at this point. Unfortunately, points are probably the biggest dimension in the game. So there is that,
especially at the NBA level too.
Yeah,
which is...
and he's got the athleticism to improve. But I mean, when you are talking about taking him at the next level, especially early on in his career, you're not going to expect him to score 17 points a game. He's going to have to find a way to kind of contribute in some of those other areas. So I think there's something there. But I think we'll have to see how kind of things work out. Definitely expect him to declare for the draft. Remember now that they can go back, kind of test out, see what where your projections
work out
lie
with some teams.
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said though that Bryce's best skill set is obviously on the offensive side of the ball, and we've watched how the NBA is headed. I mean, that's the most important factor when you're drafting a guy. I mean, the only thing that I would see holding Bryce McGowens back, which I've said extensively, is in today's NBA, especially if he's going to play the 2 or the 3, you got to be able to shoot. You got to shoot. Now, I mean, he shot well last night. I don't know what his final numbers were percentage-wise, but he's struggled from the 3-point line this season. He has.
For what it's worth, he struggles shooting NBA threes because he's been trying to show it off.
Exactly.
So that's not helping.
And in today's NBA, if you're going to play the 2 or the 3, you have to be able to shoot. And you have to be able to shoot at a high clip. So I think that is what could bring him back. And I do think, let me know if you agree with this, I'm not entirely sure if Bryce McGowens can drop very much. I mean, right now we're looking at a late first, early second is probably what I project. I mean, do we really think? I think if he stays, he develops a shot. He has another season with Nebraska. They improve as a team. He plays with Hoiberg for one more season. I think he could go up. I think he could become that lottery pick, especially if he puts effort into the offseason shooting.
It's almost to the point where you would expect him to. I mean, he would be on the next year's draft boards. He would be in projected lottery, and I would
assume he probably put on a little bit of weight, because I'd say he probably needs to gain about 10, 15 pounds. But I'm not really sure if we're saying, I mean, is this his floor? Can he go any further? I mean, just his athleticism and size alone, you would imagine that, barring a significant injury, which you don't wish that on anybody, and I don't think you can go into next season saying that, because I don't think that's a great way to look at it, but barring catastrophic injury, I don't see him dropping further than early second round.
My goodness, was
I
that
mean,
scary, though, that alley-oop that he had.
It was.
Oh,
it
man,
was.
he came down, and again, it was really his shoulder, and it was like, geez. And that's what you get scared of.
But barring that, I mean, do we really think because of his size and athleticism he's going to drop further?
I don't think he's drop at all, no.
But I think his draft stock can rise.
But I don't think it's as easy to look over the injury situation as it might have been had his brother not gotten hurt this season. Like, I think that's something that he'll consider. And again, another thing that should be considered for them, for Bryce particularly, is you could. I mean, you're taking a little bit of a risk if you come back, right? You get some NIL money, but it's not going to be the money that you're going to get if you get the guaranteed contract. If you're picked in the first round, you're taking a risk if you're borderline first round. I mean, you might not. You don't
get that guaranteed contract, then you can get sent to the G League. Yeah, it's
so. I mean, there's no guarantees in it, but I do kind of think if he's getting told, hey, if he works out well and somebody sees enough in him, like we're saying late first round, if he has a few teams, at 20 or 19 telling him, we might not take him. That's not lottery, but yeah, we're going to give you a heavy look there. It just depends on the family situation, but I would tell anybody, it doesn't matter if you're playing at Missouri, Nebraska, Duke, I don't care. If it considerably can help your family, unless your family is very, very wealthy.
Right.
You don't want to pass up the chance at $2 million.
No, absolutely not. And I'll never tell anyone, especially with the kind of money that professional sports plays now, I'll never tell anyone to stay if you're going to make that much money.
Yeah.
The problem that we run into is I wouldn't say right now he's a lottery pick.
No.
I would say he's probably an early second round pick. And like you said, it's not a guaranteed contract. So do you stay an extra season? I think last night had a big thing to do with it, because if you're Bryce McGowens, or even if you're any of these players on the team that were maybe considering coming back, last night has to put a good taste in your mouth to some extent, right? I mean, I feel like it has to, because you went on the road against a tournament team that's ranked in the top 25. And I wouldn't say they dominated, but it was a convincing win.
They looked like the better team.
They were the better team.
Yeah.
And I don't know I wouldn't say it's a fluke at this point, because they've proven recently that they can compete with teams, and now they're beating teams. I think Wisconsin will really show a lot, because Wisconsin's going to be playing for that outright Big Ten championship. They're playing for seeding now. I don't know if they can get a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, but they can certainly get a 2 seed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're not going to see Wisconsin just packing it in. I mean, they're going to be playing to win.
Oh,
and I think Nebraska, by all indications, they're going to be playing to win. So I think the Wisconsin game, which I believe it's Sunday, I think that will show a lot. Which, again, you asked me 2 weeks ago, I'd say, okay, let's just keep it within 30.
Yeah.
But is that the mindset now? Do you go into that game trying to win? Do you go in that game expecting to be competitive? Or is it, let's slow it down a little bit, let's remember the majority of the season?
Well, it's kind of fun, too, because I was saying the same thing last night. I used to go, well, 2 weeks ago, like 5 days ago, right? They just won their last 2 games, like Sunday and Tuesday. They had to play this compact.
I mean, I was more excited when Hoiberg restructured the contract than you were. After that, I said it was the right move, and I think it's going to help moving forward, and it has. How much of that do you think goes into it, though?
I think it does play.
There's got to be something. Yeah. I mean, it's not a coincidence. It can't be.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it makes too big of a difference, but I will say that those guys have to feel a giant burden if they're wondering whether their head coach is going to come back next year, because then you didn't just fail, you failed so bad that the guy who trusted you and brought you in on scholarship is being let go. I mean, that's a lot to deal with as a player.
It is.
So I think that kind of, there's got to be a relief, and maybe that leads to better shooting or something of that, just a less stress going into it. Yeah. But ultimately they have just kind of, it's just kind of been before last night, kind of a dedication to the boards. They were starting to win rebounding battles, which they hadn't done last night. They weren't able to because they were in foul trouble. So that they had to overcome that. They had to find another way to do that. And what they did was only turn the ball over 4 times and not allow Ohio State to get anything going, partially because of that, not turning over the ball, but just nothing in the fast break for the Buckeyes. So, I think that did probably played a small factor. Again, I think maybe if Frost had won a few games, it might be more of a thing, right? To kind of think, okay, well, now
like what's going on here? Yeah.
Now that the stress is off of these guys, then maybe this is leading to something. But I don't know. I'm not going to give Trev Alberts, like, what percentage of these wins do you give to Trev Alberts?
I mean, I don't know about that, but I mean, the entire mindset of the team is different. It was getting chippy. I mean, you said that one guy who was in sweats got kicked out of the game.
He did last night.
I mean, Trey McGowens is on the floor. Guys are shoving each other. I love that. I absolutely love that. If this is the way that the season is gone, where you enter this game 2-16 against a ranked team on the road, who cares? Dive on the floor. Push some guys around. Get mad. Play for something. I love to see it. And again, where has this been all season? That'll be my question to you. Where has this been all season? Because I haven't seen that. At what point in time did Nebraska have a point this season where they were playing, they were hustling, they were on the floor, they were chippy, they were being aggressive? It hadn't happened. So what changed? That's the frustration. What changed? We haven't seen it at all.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I don't get it. And that's why I'm asking you, because you followed Fred Hoiberg's career a lot longer than I have, and I haven't seen anything like this. Have you? What
Not necessarily,
is
but I
different?
do
What has
think
changed?
I think we get like you get kind of get into the weeds when you start to like question effort and all that other stuff. Like Nebraska again went to overtime with Ohio State. What in January? So what's changed since then? I mean, they were about able to beat this team with Zedke, kind of full strength Ohio State at that time. So I think sometimes once you get the losses and the losses pile up, then you have this whole culture problem and the effort and all this stuff. I tell you, it's not they've played Wisconsin before to 8 points this season. So you say, should they have expected to be blown out by Wisconsin? They never should have expected to be blown out by Wisconsin because they've already proven that they can play with them. They played Rutgers, close at home once. Obviously, the away game was different. They same thing with Michigan. One game was close, one wasn't. They've played a lot of these teams close, but the problem
last night they were close to dominant. In that second half, they were up by 6 to 10 points for the majority of the half. It wasn't dominant. I mean, no, they weren't blowing Ohio State out. But like you said, they were the better team. We haven't seen that all season. We haven't.
Well, and to that point too, like specifically lately, that's been the problem, right? It wasn't those early season games when they're playing teams close. It's the 24-point loss to Northwestern,
exactly,
or the 23-point loss to Iowa, 16 to Maryland. That wasn't as close. I don't know. I mean, a lot can change based on confidence and shooting. Sometimes, like Doc Rivers, one of my favorite quotes is always, "It's a make or miss league." Yeah, if you shoot 60% from beyond the arc, that kind of can start translating to other, parts of the game. You get kind of pumped for, you're more into it. You're getting, and part of that is getting more open looks. The rebounding that kind of, especially offensive rebound that leads to open looks. So it's kind of interesting because not a whole lot has changed except for Trev Alberts adjusting the contract. So
exactly,
that's where a lot of people would naturally look, but. I think maybe it's just starting to click more than anything else. Off the Starter Heyman text line, which is temporarily 402-999-4620. We've got a bit of a response from you guys. Somebody says, what changed that Trev made them care more? That's all, new guy.
Is that it?
That could be it.
I mean, I guess.
Another response, if the McGrowns brothers come back, they could continue the momentum in the right direction for the Hoiberg era, get the system working the way it was designed, and could lead to much better future for the program. It would be so big, Jory says, and that's absolutely right. I mean, that's what's a little bit frustrating about the whole conversation is that this team had it within them to be able to do this and kind of set themselves, I don't know, up for a special season, but at least closer to 500 in the Big Ten. Closer to being bubble, closer to at least getting some sort of NIT recognition.
Isn't it unbelievable, though, that fans now, I mean, if you just go on Twitter, I mean, you can just look up hashtag Nebraska ball. Fans are optimistic. Yeah. This is all it takes. That's what frustrates me, too, is it took you winning a game against Ohio State on the road for your third win in Big Ten with the possibility to win 10 games now in the season. Fans are happy. I mean, nowhere else does this happen. I mean, they're so close to just having these fans back, I would say, that it just, I mean, listen to this. If the McGowans come back, it would be better set for the future of the program. It would be so big.
Yeah.
This is all it takes, Bach. And there's something to be said for that. And that's why I love Nebraska fans. And that's why I've loved living in Lincoln so far. They're always trying to find a way to be happy.
Yeah.
Always. That's all it takes.
Just a little
bit.
It
took one win on the road against Ohio State. I saw fans saying, let's win the Big Ten tournament.
Oh, yeah.
I saw it.
We got Bob on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. I think you'll hear from him as well. But again, off the Starter Heyman text line, somebody says, Nebraska has the best fans in the world because they can win 2 games and the whole state is calling for a tournament berth. We all need to calm down.
It's true. It's true. I cannot wait
Both
for this.
those statements are probably true.
I cannot wait for
Bob
this.
is there on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Bob, what do you think about the win last night?
Hey, I said yesterday afternoon, and I was talking to Eric Strickland yesterday.
Yeah.
And I said, what if Nebraska goes to Ohio State and beats Ohio State and
You
Ohio
did.
State?
You did.
And then I went on further and said, then we go to the Big Ten Championship.
Yeah.
And 4 games there. Guess what? We're in the NCAA tournament.
And then what, Bob?
2 more wins. We in the Sweet 16, baby.
That's right.
That's right. That's
Hey,
right.
That would be a Cinderella story. And I tell you what, let it go, guys. Let it go. I don't care. These guys are playing their hearts out, and they're putting it on the line. This is what everybody's been saying and bashing them all year. Okay, now they're doing it. Okay, now let's go positive and quit going negative. Okay, we got it going. And we've had lesser teams come into to the NCAA tournament, make their way into their league championship, win it, go in the NCAA. Why not Nebraska? Okay,
Why not?
Be a Cinderella team for once. Okay, we get on top, and we got all these other teams that everybody's. When Nebraska goes into the NCAA tournament up in Omaha, we have this Cinderella story. Wouldn't it be nice if this team would, make a run? Nobody talks about, and Nebraska's up there on top. Well, hey, we're going to switch roles, okay? We're going to go in there and we're going to switch roles, okay? And if Nebraska makes the NCAA tournament and wins 2 games, goes to the NCAA goes to the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Would that mess up anybody's bracket?
It would.
I think that there would be no brackets. Every bracket would
Everyone
be busted
would
at
be
that
busted.
point. I do like your enthusiasm, Bob. I like your
I do too.
optimism.
I love it.
I'm not going to sure if I'm going to sign off on Sweet 16, but at least a little bit of a run here. And to
Yeah.
be fair, he did call out the Ohio State.
You
win,
did say
so
last night, Bob.
Not a
I'm
whole lot of
impressed.
other people were saying that.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, that's always fun to hear from Bob and kind of get your dreams
There's
going.
something to be said for Bob. I mean, he's drinking the Kool-Aid. He said yesterday, what happens if we go into Ohio State and win? Well, it happened. Now, you know what? Let's do a Bob. What happens if they go into Wisconsin and win? I'm giving
Well,
you
then nobody wants to see him in the tournament. That's
You
for
think
sure.
that's what we reached? That's the point we hit.
Oh, if they beat Wisconsin, yeah, nobody's going to want to see him in the tournament. But I don't know about
Make a run.
NCAA tournament. Make a run.
Texter says, what seed does Nebraska get as Big Ten champions? 14? My God. Honestly, they might get like a 15.
Yeah. If they got into the tournament.
They have what? 12 wins? No, 13.
That's what I'm trying to think of. Georgia was 500. They made an SEC run years ago now, but I think they were like a 14 seed.
Well, what was Georgetown last year?
Yeah, they made their run too,
Georgetown
yeah.
was in the Big East championship.
Yeah.
I think they were a 13.
They were like 500 as well.
They were about 500.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they wouldn't give Nebraska a 16 seed. You wouldn't think.
No, especially
Well, how
not
awesome
after
would that?
beating
How
Wisconsin
awesome
and
would that
Ohio
be?
State and
That's
all
when
those
I
teams.
would honestly. We could just let Bob have the show. Nebraska is 16 seed. Who would they play? Who's the number 1 overall seed? Gonzaga.
Gonzaga, yeah.
Inject that into my veins. give me all day. Nebraska as a 16 seed playing Gonzaga in the first round.
For what it's worth,
Give
the
it
Big
to
Ten
me.
tournament's been around since
Give it
about
to me.
1998. I think the 8th seed in the tournament is the lowest ever win. Michigan did
Is
that
it
a
really?
few years ago.
Okay.
11 seed Illinois in the early 2000s did make the championship game, though. So Nebraska's going to be 14 or 13 seed. But hey, somebody has to make history. We at
Why not us?
some points people are going to be looking back at, well, that Nebraska team did it, right?
Sure, why not? So they have a chance to get to 13.
I think they do. I'd have to double check. Minnesota has to lose their final few games. They'd obviously have to beat Wisconsin. But if that's the goal, then yes, I think there is still statistically a possibility that they could be the 13th seed. rather take Northwestern on than Penn State or something. I mean, Maryland's there. We don't even know how that's going to fit.
So John says Bob isn't drinking Kool-Aid. He's drinking something stronger. I hope he's not driving. John, I'm with you on that. Gabe says Nebraska's first tournament win comes against Duke or Kansas. Inject that into my veins too, Gabe. Inject that into my veins. Give it to me.
We all would, but I think that's a dream world. But we're all living in a dream world. Nebraska got the win last night. We'll be back here in the Ticket Water Cooler, brought to you by Culligan Water.
Today on Hey Culligan, unnecessary contaminants. Here's the referee.
Hey Culligan, that's a flag on my water for flagrant foul taste.
Ooh, that's a tough one, ref, but the solution is a Culligan Smart RO drinking water system that reduces up to 58 contaminants, making your water safer and delicious.
Yeah, I guess I missed that call.
And with the Culligan Connect app, you always know when your filters need changing.
The water's up and it's good.
Good call, ref, and we're already on the way.
Try a Culligan water softener for just $9.95 per month. Go to CulliganLincoln.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m. Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. And things have obviously been pretty challenging lately with new vehicles, with all the microchip and supply chain issues, but things continue to loosen up as Koppel gets more and more new vehicles in each and every week. We've had many customers also custom order their vehicles. So if you don't see what you want in our current inventory, we can put an order in to get exactly what you want. So go online, reserve your new vehicle at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
High school sports on 93.7 The Ticket are brought to you by the Lincoln Convention and Visitors Bureau. It's the most wonderful time of the year, and Lincoln is excited to welcome big events to our community. Find out what's happening in Lincoln by visiting lincoln.org.
At Buffalo Wings and Rings, they've crafted a new league of superior chicken sandwiches. Meet the Ringers. It's premium, house-made, beer-battered, fried chicken served buffalo, Korean, or MVP style. Head to Buffalo Wings and Rings Lincoln and raise a glass to superior chicken. 2 locations at 68th and O and at 40th and Old Cheney. Buffalo Wings and Rings.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric ensures our home and office HVAC systems run smoothly throughout the year to provide maximum comfort and convenience. Routine maintenance reduced our operating costs just by improving the efficiency of our unit. Consider a maintenance agreement to ensure you too receive priority for services and scheduling. This helps meet manufacturer warranty requirements. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
Fruitcakes are just for Christmas, right? Gosh, I feel sorry for you. I mean, what if we had done that with bacon? Bacon is only for breakfast. We'd never have bacon cheeseburgers. We'd never be able to save a salad by adding bacon bits. We'd never have Brinner. That's breakfast for dinner. Don't limit yourself. Fruitcakes for St. Patrick's Day. Fruitcakes for graduation. Fruitcakes for Thursday. Beatrice Bakery and Grandma's Fruitcakes are perfect for every occasion. Check them out in downtown Beatrice or online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Back to the Ticket Water Cooler. Brought to you by Culligan of Lincoln on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here on the Ticket Water Cooler celebrating Nebraska's top 25 victory. They got one, and we celebrate all day long. We'll celebrate until Sunday, until Nebraska takes on Wisconsin. For what it's worth, I know some people are wondering if Nebraska can get out of the 14 seed. Again, they would need to win their game against Wisconsin and need Minnesota, who's the only other team that could fall to the 14 seed, to lose at Maryland tonight on BTN. If you're really interested, you can watch that one. Or they also have at Northwestern is their final game. That is on the 6th at 6:30. So I believe that game will be on the same day as Nebraska. So by then you'll know. I mean, I guess if Nebraska beats Wisconsin, you can watch that one in the nightcap to see if Nebraska gets the 13th seed. To me, it doesn't really matter.
Awesome?
I don't
Wouldn't
know.
that be
It doesn't
awesome?
really matter. You're playing either Northwestern, Penn State, Maryland, somebody in that group, regardless whether you're 13
At
or
what
14.
point, though, do you get so hot that you start predicting Nebraska to win? If they beat Wisconsin, I don't think there's any way they lose the first round of the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, I think they're already at the point to me where do you expect them to win another game this year? Would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, you expect them to win
I
that
would.
game against Penn State or Maryland or
I do.
Northwestern. Yeah. Because they're hot. They just did it to Penn State. They'd have to have a little bit of a revenge factor against those Maryland and Northwestern teams, but those teams are below 500. Those teams
They're not good.
Those aren't good.
They're not good. Nebraska is good now.
Nebraska's
supposedly.
well below 500, but yeah, they're at least running momentum here. But I don't think that it's impossible to beat Wisconsin. Obviously, like I said, they played them close earlier. If you watched last night, Chucky Hepburn with the banked three to clinch a tie of the, that starts March Madness off pretty well. But Nebraska could play a little bit of semi-spoiler. So Wisconsin's they've already like celebrated like they won the Super Bowl last night. All they did was clinch a tie.
I honestly
wouldn't you
wish-
wait until? I mean, I don't know.
This is my question, though. If that was at PBA, do they storm?
Oh, yeah.
I think the fans probably storm. I'd storm.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if they won the Big Ten title, I think so. Yeah.
No. I'm saying the game last night against Ohio State. It's not.
Oh,
in
yeah, it's
Columbus.
not close.
Say it was at PBA and they won
Yeah.
how they did last. Do you think they storm?
I would, yeah. Because you're so hapless. You have never had the chance to storm. That's what we used to get this argument, especially with Nebraska football, because Nebraska football would hold themselves to such a high regard that you don't want to storm, the field if you beat the
screw
number 15 team or something like that. And because the team won in the 90s and the 70s, it's like, guys, these kids in college, they can't do anything. Like, this is the best victory of their tenure at Nebraska. They want to let them have fun too.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. If you get any sort of win like this at PBA, let the kids storm.
I'm always pro storm. I'm pro storm. Honestly, if you have two unranked teams and they're rivals, screw it, storm.
Yeah, I
I'm
start
pro
to get a
storm.
little weird feeling about that.
I'm pro
At some
storm.
point, I will get to a point where I don't think you should storm the court.
Yeah, but last night you stormed.
Last night you storm, yeah, because literally you haven't beaten a top 25 team in like almost 3 years now. So
Yeah,
take that opportunity.
That is true. That is true.
Or
That's
in
awesome.
football.
That's
so
awesome.
like you just as a
if they
as a
beat Oklahoma,
senior-
if they beat Oklahoma, they'll storm.
yeah,
I think. Would you not?
I think so.
I mean, Oklahoma will probably be top 10, and they probably have a cake schedule to start out the season, just like every other good big time school. Who does Alabama starts against like the Citadel every season? It's ridiculous.
Alabama usually doesn't. Actually, the SEC usually plays those teams late.
Do they play them late?
Yeah,
I don't even
Alabama's
know.
been playing like pretty.
They
good teams.
basically structure it so they get a few buys throughout the end of the season. So maybe you're right.
Yeah, I'll look up their schedule.
I
actually, 'cause
tell you
there's a
what,
chance.
honestly, like I'm saying this in all honesty, I love Husker fans. If you're listening right now, I honestly love you guys. I've never been a part of an environment where this is all it takes. This is all it takes. It is awesome. Honestly, credit to you guys. It's so much fun. I'm with you, Bach. If they won last night in PBA, storm.
Oh yeah,
Storm. Party in the streets.
yeah. There
Shut down O Street.
We should have done that.
Seriously. Seriously. Why not? Have some fun. Fans are having
You're
fun.
allowed to have some fun.
Fans are having fun, man.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it.
It's too bad that they don't have one more game at PBA because this is really all it does take is that it would be a nice, like for the first time probably all season, or at least early in the season, it would be pretty packed and maybe even close to a hostile environment if they were playing Wisconsin or somebody at home.
Yeah.
But obviously that's not going to happen. For what it's worth, Oklahoma's scheduled before Nebraska next year. UTEP. So they should.
What'd I
get that
tell you?
one. Well,
And who else?
hey, don't disrespect UTEP. The Kent State
on.
Golden Flashes.
My God. So now we're playing Maction. So now it's Maction teams. That's our gauntlet leading up to Nebraska.
Their big non-conference game is Nebraska. Nebraska's supposed to be the big non-conference.
Is it really?
Well, yeah. You usually schedule one,
And they do it years in advance too. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
assuming this has probably been laid out for
Oh,
years.
yeah.
That honestly, that frustrates me so much. It really does. Because I mean, you're going to blow both those teams out. You're just going to get some reps. It doesn't matter if whoever their new quarterback is this year throws 3 picks. You're still going to win by
doing the
35.
same thing.
Are they? I mean, Northwestern and Ireland. I mean, it's still a Big Ten opponent. I mean, who's the worst team in the Big 12? I would say Northwestern's probably the worst team in the Big Ten. I'd rather have
yeah.
Oklahoma play the worst team in the Big 12 than play UTEP and Kent State. Come on, Bach.
Nebraska's playing Georgia
Why are we
Southern.
defending Oklahoma right now? I
I'm just
understand
saying-
they're
I'm
playing
defe-
Georgia
I'm
Southern.
defending the college football schedule. That's how it's
I'm
built.
not defending it.
That's how it's generally
terrible.
built.
That's terrible. That's awful. Are you kidding me?
I don't mind that. Like they just recently went to like opening week Big Ten games over the last several years.
I love it.
Different conferences have started to do it. I love it too.
ACC does it too now.
Yeah, I love it too. I think it's cool, but it's just different. Like college football, it's not like the NFL where you have preseason games. You jump right into games that matter. You're not in midseason form if you're taking on Texas and
You're
going
to be in midseason form when you play UTEP and Kent State.
That's the goal. That's the goal is to get rolling.
No. How are you going to start? How is Oklahoma a team that's made the playoff 3 times consistently in the top 10? You're starting your season against a MAC team. That's terrible. How are you defending this? Are you actually defending this right now?
I'm defending
terrible.
it all together. Why
Oh my
wouldn't
God.
you? Like teams do this every year.
And I hate that Alabama does it too.
You
They'll
don't
have a
load
bye.
up your non-con
They'll have a
schedule.
bye, then they'll play some scrub team, then they'll play like South Carolina, and then get ready for the SEC championship. So you basically have like 3 bye weeks leading up to
They
playing
play
against Georgia.
Auburn every year at the final game.
Okay, congratulations. Okay, take out Auburn, who was terrible this past season.
Yeah, Auburn's up
They're
and
so
down.
bad. Bo Nix is transferring.
I think Bo Nix might be part of the reason that they
You
were
think
bad.
that's why they were bad? Okay, I'll give you Auburn. But leading up to that, their schedule is always garbage.
Yeah, the SEC, but that's in
And
response.
that's what the SEC does.
That's in response to what you're saying that you don't want to see garbage games at the beginning.
I don't
They
want to see
play
any garbage
difficult
games. I don't want to see any garbage games at all. I say take them all. I understand that it makes a lot of revenue for the little schools, like the FCS
Oh
schools.
yeah,
But
not
it
just
it
the MAC
does
schools,
no
the
one
Sun
any
Belt
good.
schools, all
No,
the
it
schools
never
outside
does
the Power
anyone. It
Five.
never does anyone any good.
It does. It heats you up. You don't get preseason games.
So we get to see Alabama shellac some team by 60. Come on.
Well, but you have like good games on weekly. It's not like they all load them up one week. There's always at least like a primetime matchup,
Terrible.
a few of them that you
Give
can
me
put
a-
on.
No, this is awful.
know
Oklahoma's
how
at
you're
a
arguing.
Oklahoma's at a serious.
You'd
advantage
rather
playing
have
against Nebraska.
Oklahoma play Alabama and Southern Cal before playing Nebraska. You would have 1-1 coming into Nebraska.
Yes, I want them to actually not have 2 bye weeks to start out the season. Literally, I guarantee those 2 games, there's some billboard, there's some type of practice, there's some type of something that looks forward to the Nebraska game. You're already looking forward to the Nebraska game before you even play them 2 weeks in advance. You really tell me they're going to be worried about Kent State when you have Nebraska the very next week on the road? No.
They better. That's where
They
that's where the
prepared for
upsets
2
happen.
weeks.
How dare you? The Golden Flashes.
Oh my
this
God.
This is a real university, a football team.
I
that
know
has
it
been
is
going for
and
years.
I'm pro Maction. I've always been pro Maction. I'm all about it. The Tuesday games, sign me up. It's
Fine.
something to watch.
Just UTEP that you're hating on.
I'm hating on UTEP too. It's terrible, man. It's awful.
So what about Nebraska? They're doing the same thing. They're playing 2 warm-up games
Again,
before getting to
They are
Oklahoma.
playing 2 warm-up games. I'll give you that. But they're still playing Northwestern.
Everybody does. Who's
they're
Virginia
still playing,
Tech playing?
They're still playing Northwestern. Virginia Tech, I'm pretty sure, plays West Virginia to start out the season. I know they play West Virginia early. Let me look at the schedule. Last year, they started at home against UNC.
But
They played a top 10 team in the
But look
country
at what
to
it
start the
can do
season.
to you. Nebraska played Illinois to start the season. They lost, and basically
Why is
the
that
whole season
How
was
is
lost.
that our fault?
It's not our fault. It's just the risk you take in playing as competitive game week 1 before you've had a chance to work out the kinks.
Look at that. Okay, so yeah, week 2, they play Boston College. Perfect. That's what I want to see. You play Old Dominion, who they lost to like 4 seasons ago, so whatever. But you play Boston College week 2.
Yeah.
There we go. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not even asking you to play a good team. I'm just saying let's not give you
They're
2
playing
warm-up
Nebraska
games.
week 3. So it's just a
But I
difference
just
of
don't
a
like.
week for you.
I just don't like that they have a warm-up game before that. It puts a bad taste in my mouth.
I don't know. This is how
Puts
most
a bad taste in my
schedules
mouth.
go.
And that's what I'm saying is I just don't like it. I don't like
Well,
it.
if it makes you feel any better, they'll be probably pretty angry. Well, actually, those games, I can't even imagine how it is without the TV network deal that Oklahoma has, that the Big 12 has, I should say, which is part of the reason why they're moving to the SEC, is they still watch Oklahoma games, the brand name Oklahoma. They still have pay-per-view games.
No.
Still.
You're kidding.
UTEP and Kent State might be one of them. They might get FS1 treatment, but if they do, another reason Oklahoma's leaving is they're pissed at going at 11 o'clock because they are the brand name, and that's who Fox wants every time for their big noon game.
That's what I'm saying. Change it up, Bach. We're on the same page here. It all comes full circle. Terrible.
I don't know.
Terrible.
Some reaction off the text line. Schedules are made 6 to 8 years in advance. Come on, finding other non-cons are not super easy. I side with Bach. Hey, there we go. George says, if I remember correctly, Nebraska already scheduled Oklahoma again for 2028, 2029. Home and away, so plan the non-cons now.
And that's what they're going to do. And yeah, so who are they going to play to start that season then?
Probably,
Wofford?
Hopefully.
I hate it. I hate it.
You just hate scheduled W's. Who do you think?
I hate scheduled
How's
W's.
Kent State ever going to make a mark? How's Boise State ever going to happen? How's App State ever going to happen?
What do you mean?
How's
how
Old
is that
Dominion going to ever happen?
And I don't want it to happen.
The special part of college football is the upset.
The only reason Virginia Tech didn't play in a national championship, and I think it was 2010, is because they lost to JMU.
That's great.
No, that's terrible.
Yes. No, that's part of college football that I don't want to die is especially these early season matchups. Oklahoma had these last year.
I'm sick and tired of Alabama going into a big game against, say it's Auburn, and playing the Citadel the week before. Are you kidding me?
That's because they open up against Wisconsin or somebody on a yearly basis.
And then they probably have a cakewalk the very next game. I don't even know. I'm honestly wrapping around
just like everybody else.
I don't even know what I'm arguing anymore. Honestly, go to an all-conference schedule. Just play every team in your conference once.
You're gonna, I wouldn't mind that. I mean,
I would rather have
NFL
that.
decision.
I hate that Alabama always has this cake schedule towards the end of the season, right before they go into a big game. It happens every year. It happens every year.
You remember who Oklahoma opened up with last year?
USC,
Tulane.
Are you kidding
Guess
me?
what? It was 40-35.
I know
Oklahoma
Tulane,
needed to win,
and I love that.
Yeah, exactly. You don't get that opportunity if they
okay,
don't
fine. Here we can end it and come to an agreement. If you're going to play these games against these non-conference opponents that aren't very good, play it at the beginning of the season.
What difference?
There's no reason that you should have a double bye if you're Alabama and go play a team in the SEC, play the Citadel, and then play Auburn.
But
that's ridiculous.
The whole SEC
that's
has somebody. Georgia plays Georgia Tech. South Carolina goes to Clemson. You have all these crossover. Get Florida State.
Okay, I'll take that, but those are all Power 5 schools.
But that's what I'm saying is if you're going to have that non-con game at the end,
make it a Power 5
schedule your conference game
make
earlier,
it a Power
why
5
not
school.
schedule a W somewhere in there like everybody else does across the nation? And keep your 8-game
It's
conference schedule.
giving Alabama an advantage, and I will never want to give Alabama an advantage.
Keep that 8-game conference schedule. SEC.
Oh my
SEC.
God, get out of here.
We'll be right back here on the Ticket Water Cooler on 93.7 The Ticket.
March is Problem Gambling Awareness Month. If you or a loved one are struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300 or go to choicestreatmentcenter.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Sunny skies and more spring-like warmth as we'll top out near 75 this afternoon. Winds will turn out of the north but remain light at around 10 to 15. Increasing cloud cover tonight, a low down to 30. We will be cloudy, much colder tomorrow, but still rather mild for early March with a high of around 51. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
Winter is upon us. Is your home prepared? If your furnace isn't keeping up or you've thought about replacing it, John Henry's has a new year, new unit special. When you purchase a select heating and cooling system from John Henry's, we will give you the furnace for free. There are also equipment and LES rebates up to an additional $850. This offer expires February 28th, so don't miss out. Find out more at jhlincoln.com or give John Henry's a call or text today.
435-5555.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish. And don't sleep on their sides, shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric ensures our home and office HVAC systems run smoothly throughout the year to provide maximum comfort and convenience. Routine maintenance reduced our operating costs just by improving the efficiency of our unit. Consider a maintenance agreement to ensure you too receive priority for services and scheduling. This helps meet manufacturer warranty requirements. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
Hey, sports fans, Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
In a world where fun and cash prizes collide, one game explodes to the forefront. Cash Blast from the Nebraska Lottery. Non-stop excitement, a winning thrill ride, and starring you. Until April 12th. Play 2x2 weekly for a chance to win $5,000 or $500. And if your ticket was a 7-day draw, your prize is doubled. Don't miss it. Cash Blast playing at a lottery retailer near you. 2x2 top prize odds 1 in 105,000.
Attention anyone standing near a mud puddle. Trucks and Bucks is back, so take cover. The Nebraska Lottery's most popular scratch game is roaring down the road again. And this year, we're giving away 8 blue 2022 Ford F-150 XLT Super Crew Flex Fuel trucks. So buy a $2 Trucks and Bucks ticket today. You could win a new Ford F-150 and make a real splash in your neighborhood. Ford F-150 is a registered trademark owned and licensed by Ford Motor Company. Top prize odds 1 in 336,000.
Back to the Ticket Water Cooler. Brought to you by Culligan of Lincoln on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here on the Ticket Water Cooler, brought to you by Culligan Water. If you want to see if your water softener is working properly, or if you just don't have one at all, give Culligan a call to schedule a free water test. Call today at 402-251-2309, or go online to CulliganLincoln.com. And of course, Nate is over here giving us all his hot takes. What did you think of the State of the Union address last night?
I didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
I
Well,
actually didn't
maybe
see
we'll
it.
stay out of politics. Continue to stay out of politics there. All right. Well, then now let's go to the NFL then, because as we know, there's no politics in the NFL. Okay,
That's
sometimes
right.
there are some politics in the NFL, but in any case, I guess we'll get to NFL here in just a second. I'm just going to go through like a quick. I need like just quick responses on these because we don't have too much time. But let's start with Major League Baseball. Actually, not coming to an agreement between the Players Association and the owners. Ultimately, it comes down to the fact that MLB is going to make more money, expand the playoffs, and they're not trying to give more money back to the players. Who do you side with, and is it worth losing 2 series of baseball?
Obviously, I'm going to side with the players, but I don't know. How long is this going to go on?
Yeah, that's kind of the question.
That's what it comes down to,
Because
because it looks like Manfred isn't going to budge.
Yeah. And the negotiations haven't started. Like they had this deadline, and then they don't meet until very close to the deadline.
What are we
and
doing?
they're so far apart on these sides. It's like you guys had this whole time to kind of figure it out. And
You
you're
would
not doing
think
it.
it's just unbelievable, and I've never seen a professional sports league run so poorly. I mean, it's terrible. I don't know. I'm obviously going to side with the players. I always side with the players. They're the ones that are playing the game. They're the ones that should be making money. So I don't know.
All right, how about you? What do you think about this? Will Bolt was tossed after the game against TCU. So now he has to sit out. If he was tossed during the game, he wouldn't have to sit out. But he was tossed after the game. What sense does that make? As they were arguing the final calls there. So now he has to sit out a game.
But if he was tossed during the game, he doesn't have to sit
No,
out.
then he would just be tossed out of that game.
Who made that rule? My God. That
sounds
awful.
like the college football rule where if you're tossed in the second half, you have to miss the next week's first half.
What is that about?
Yeah.
I don't understand that one either. I don't know. I mean, who does Nebraska play this weekend?
Texas, they play in Arlington. It's an easier schedule than what they've been doing before. I can't remember exactly the team they're playing, but they're going back down to Texas.
Going back to Texas because they played TCU last weekend. No, that's ridiculous. I actually didn't know that, Box. So I guess the more you learn, I feel like it hasn't really been talked about. So it's just one game that he has to miss?
We've all been avoiding talking about Husker baseball so far.
Unfortunately. So.
But it's early. This is what happens to the northern teams in Nebraska. You schedule these games just so maybe you can get a win in the series. And even if you lose the series overall, it still boosts your overall, RPI and all that stuff just because you scheduled it and you went down there and won a game.
I think we do need to relax a little bit on Husker baseball. I mean, baseball is the most random sport there is. Give it some time. Things will come together. You play TCU, which is normally a top 25 team in the country. It'll be fine. I'm not worried yet.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, I don't think anybody's too worried. It's just we would be talking about it if they won a few games. They only won one. They're 1-6 so far.
Right.
Northwestern State is who they'll play next Friday during the day, an 11 a.m. game actually.
Oh, I love day baseball.
Yeah.
Oh, I love day.
And it's kind of weird because they're playing
televised.
I don't
televised?
think so.
Okay.
I don't believe so. They're also playing, so that's part of a doubleheader. Right after that, they'll take on UT Arlington. Then the next day, they'll do the same thing. They'll play Northwestern State first at 11 a.m., then play UT Arlington again. So they're going to play 4 games in 2 days against two different teams. That's kind of cool.
Okay, and those are the only teams they're playing?
Yeah.
Okay.
A little 3-team series, maybe.
Oh, I love day baseball. Hopefully they come back with some wins. That's what we're looking forward to. We need some Husker baseball wins.
Yeah,
Without Will Bolt, supposedly.
Yeah.
Kicked out after he gets after the game.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. How about the NFL? There's some interesting stuff going on. What do you think about Kyler Murray overall? Are you siding more with the Cardinals or Kyler Murray? He released this statement saying that he wants to get paid and he wants to lead the Cardinals to a Super Bowl. This also after he took all the Cardinal stuff off his Instagram. Arizona Today extended their GM, extended their head coach through the 2027 season after Kyler asked for an extension.
I don't know why he's the one that's upset. He played like Carson Wentz in the playoffs. You get treated like Carson Wentz. Sorry.
He did not like being reports are he did not like being the scapegoat for the loss.
And I think it was unfair to call him the scapegoat, but he played poorly. How come every other quarterback Aaron Rodgers was criticized?
Oh, yeah.
And he said, I was one of the reasons we lost. You got to take blame eventually. If you want to be the leader of the team, you want to be the highest paid player on the team, take responsibility.
Yeah.
Rubs me a little bit the wrong way. How do you feel as a Cardinals fan?
It's just frustrating because they don't have assets very often, and they finally have a young up-and-coming Pro Bowl quarterback. Yeah. And apparently, between the maturity of him and the team just hasn't handled it the best.
No.
So it's just like, Jesus, guys, can you get some? You have one thing,
right?
This is all every team wants is just to get a quarterback that you can buy into for 10 years.
Legitimate quarterback.
Yeah. And then there's the whole conversation now is, he doesn't deserve an extension because Lamar Jackson didn't get an extension. Well, that's more on the Ravens. That has nothing to do with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
And then you continue, continue down the line. It's just a mess. I'm frustrated as a
frustrated about it. I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
But it also wouldn't surprise me if in a few years they're back to their old Cardinals way, drafting pretty high in the draft and winning 4 games a year. That's more what I'm used to. So
that's awful. Then you're like the Lions.
Yeah,
just that purgatory with no quarterback. That's the thing. I mean, it's a good point. It's tough to get a quarterback in the NFL.
What do you think about Mitchell Trubisky mania? Every team that needs a quarterback is going after Mitchell Trubisky.
Who started this? Is this just something Field Yates dreamt of and then just put it on Twitter and everyone's buying into it? I saw he predicted that he goes to the Colts.
That's a weird prediction.
Oh, my God, dude.
Why would the Colts move off Wentz for Trubisky? That doesn't make any sense.
I mean,
Trubisky's everybody's backup plan if they don't get Rodgers or Wilson.
I mean, their current backup is Sam Ehlinger.
Well, not as a backup. Their backup plan. He's going to start this year. But like
you
every
think he's going to start for a team?
I think, yeah. There's everybody needs one. There's a lot of teams out there that need it, and there's only so many Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilsons who might not move.
Don't get me wrong. Carson Wentz makes terrible decisions. He threw a pick 6 with his left hand in his own end zone. I get it. But is Mitchell Trubisky an upgrade? No.
No.
Terrible.
That'll wrap it up for the Ticket Water Cooler. On the Block is next.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric ensures our home and office HVAC systems run smoothly throughout the year to provide maximum comfort and convenience. Routine maintenance reduced our operating costs just by improving the efficiency of our unit. Consider a maintenance agreement to ensure you too receive priority for services and scheduling. This helps meet manufacturer warranty requirements. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
March is